Hey, everybody. So I hope you guys had a good weekend. We talked about physical and psychological pain, and yeah, it's usually a thing that I can go on and on and on about. So I was very happy that I kept myself restricted a little bit on the weekend. I can get a little boring when we talk about it. So let's go a little bit deeper with what you have to say. Any questions or shares that you have? And if not, we'll do a practice or let's just see what happens.
And go ahead, Ralph.
Hey, Ralph.
Hey, Greg, good evening, all.
Hey, how'd you
Um, I did pretty good. I thought it was like what the doctor ordered, so to speak.
Good. I know,
Um,
Joe. It's so
yeah,
universal. It's just I don't know.
yeah. Well,
That's why I like I don't know for myself. Like this is probably the thing that I've delved the deepest on, just because you know aches and pains when you're young, but really more the aches and pains as I get older.
yeah.
I'm like,
Well,
God, you just got to
yeah,
be able to have a quality of life.
yeah. So first off,
Mhm.
Laura mentioned, you and Laura were kind of kicking around, gee, should we just list the standard approach or should we have the advanced approach?
Mhm.
My 2 cents would be that please give us both,
Okay.
so that I can do, because what I'm specifically interested in at my tender age
Mhm.
is having like the advanced approach to go in and really deeply address, getting my body into rest repair
Okay.
and, that kind of thing. And then
Okay.
having a daily, maybe a twice daily standard approach where I can basically give myself a daily or every other day tune up
Okay.
to keep my body in rest repair and, you know spinal, get all these parts working together as well as
Right.
possible
Right.
for
Right.
the well-being of the body.
Right. Okay.
So that would be my 2 cents worth on
Okay.
that.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah.
I try to keep it as like, I don't want to go too crazy with the protocols, but at the same time, I don't want to hold back too much. You know what I mean? It's this weird balancing act sometimes. So
Yeah.
I could make that happen. I do want to go through and refine this a little bit more,
Mhm.
this booklet. And so, yeah, I'll go through and I'll do that.
Yep. That would be really helpful.
Yeah.
Um, on lemongrass, when
Uh-huh.
I try to inhale lemongrass, I find it to be a very sharp, and it causes my nose and my eyes to start running when I start inhaling it. Is
Okay.
there anything I can do to lemongrass to mellow it out
I
just a
would say
little
just
bit?
hold it like maybe a little farther away.
Okay.
The lemongrass itself, I mean, it's a very potent essential oil, but
Yeah, potent. Yeah.
the molecules, I mean, it's very strong. And so, like a lot of oils I can take just on my tongue and wash it down or something like that. Lemongrass, man, I have a healthy respect for it. You got to put a couple drops in water and drink it down. And like in the old days, I'd even try to just do like a little tiny bit of water and like shoot it down and like, ugh.
Yeah.
And so it is a little like sensitizing or
Hmm.
stimulating or however you want to say it. So a lot of times you might want to hold it a little farther away, just so there's a little bit more air that can get mixed in, just like you would like put it in drops of water, like a
Hmm.
decent sized glass. Like holding it a little farther away allows for other air molecules to mix with it as it goes in. And I find that you still get the effect, but it's much softer, like softer on the nose.
Not quite as intense. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
a lot of oils, I've practically got the bottle of my nose. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? But there's a few where it's like,
A little
that
respect here.
yeah, that'd be one of them. Because some of them have a lighter scent. And so like I feel if I hold it too far away, I don't really get the scent.
Hmm.
If I'm inhaling sandalwood or something, man, I got that up in my nose.
Yeah.
But boy, there's a few of them, you know.
Okay. All right.
Even benzoin is that way for me. Like I hold it a little farther out.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Saturday afternoon late, we were talking about an emotional process
Hmm.
on pay. And so my question was that the on page 37, the psychogenic, or was that emotional pain on page 44? so I can go back
We
and,
did emotional pain.
On Sunday, though. Did we do it
no,
on
this
Sunday?
was Saturday afternoon, late, about 5:20 or thereabouts.
Huh. Was it emotional pain? I don't remember talking about psychogenic pain, so it must
Okay.
have been the
Okay. So,
emotional pain part. I do remember talking about emotional pain, so it was probably that.
okay.
Yeah,
All right.
because
Good.
I mean, like most times the weekend's kind of a blur because I'm chatting and
Oh
whatever,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
so I remember going, oh, maybe we'll come back to psychogenic pain, but there's some other things I wanted to talk about, and so I know I didn't talk about that.
Okay. All
Don't
right.
remember very many things from the weekend, but that one I do. You know, yeah.
Okay. You talked about doing lemongrass before doing the lymph process. Would
Yeah,
that
and
be internal or just inhale?
you probably could get away with both. Like if you were really not kind of feeling good, and the indicator there would be the body's achy.
Mhm.
I would probably take a couple drops internally,
Okay.
but what all you're trying to do is you're trying to balance out the autonomic nervous system, which is fight, flight, and rest and repair. And
Mhm.
when lymphatic system is not functioning well, it's usually an imbalance there. Too much sympathetic part of the nervous system, which is fight flight, not enough rest and repair. And even though like you might have good vagal tone, like sometimes what starts to happen, you get a little fatigued, you get a little tired, you get a little wound up about something, there'll be like a glitch for a little bit. And you still might have good tone, but we want it to start to balance out so that when your body starts generating like better lymphatic circulation, that it will start to tip into going into rest and repair. And
Mhm.
so, that's one of the difficulties with doing like deeper lymphatic work is that if your nervous system isn't like kind of like on board,
Mhm.
it's like as much as you do, it doesn't really doesn't do a whole lot. I mean, it does something, but not like if you get the nervous system on board. If you get the nervous system on board, things will start circulating without even the further stimulation. And then you're just enhancing the flow and enhancing the movement. And so uh, I would say you could throw lemongrass in. You could also use anise. Like I just like for so long, I like the lemongrass because it also is relaxing to the body and it hits the spinal thalamic tract. And
Is this like relaxing, like after you
yeah,
stop hitting your head on the wall, it feels
right,
better?
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And so it has some extra benefits that are helping the process over the anise,
Mhm.
but either would work. I just think lemongrass has always been my kind of go-to thing. The other one, if like you wanted to rotate them out and say like, let's try this, but I'm wanting a break from lemongrass is Litsea cubeba. It's
Okay.
it's it's very similar to lemongrass, but it's like a little softer. It doesn't have quite the bite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Functionally, is it pretty much the same?
It's similar. I mean, lemongrass is still a little bit stronger. Like I
Mhm.
always think of lemongrass as the Marines that hit the beach.
Yeah,
And
that's a good way to put it.
yeah, like it's all about, this is a military operation. You will get better. Where the other ones are a little bit more subtle, you know,
Mhm.
and they still work. They're just, if you don't need like a big drastic like jump start in the body,
Mhm.
it would be fine. But I don't know. I always think like my old back Rick really jump started. But if you needed to, or like in a pinch, or your nose just gets tired of lemongrass or something, you could throw that other stuff in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. On let's see, number 17.
17.
Yeah, on page 8.
Oh,
Um, So vibrational mugwort technique.
Um,
Um,
oh yes. Okay.
so what do you suggest? So, I mean, do we do the full version? Do we do the advanced version? How do you choose which one to do? You know,
Page what page are we on?
page 8, PDF. I don't know what number. It's page 8 on the print on the book. No,
Vibrational mugwort. Okay,
yes,
Yeah.
gotcha.
vibrational mugwort technique.
Yeah.
So this looks
So
like the whole Monty here. Okay.
yeah, it's
So this would be the thing that I would do on the weekend to really
right. Right.
to really do the whole thing and really get it going. What do
Yeah.
I do? What do I do like in the evening before I go to bed to make sure that my body's fully in
Yeah,
the
I would do it like before you go to bed, or do it and then maybe take a salt bath and then go to bed, because
Mhm.
like the thing that you're doing here, I mean, you're hitting the the stuff that we do with mugwort, but when you start working the frequency, it's starting to affect the pumping of the chakras, right? And
Mhm.
so you're starting to jumpstart the chakras, and they're pumping and they're pumping and they're pumping, working towards doing that flow with the mugwort. And the mugwort is always about opening up the channels, but you're just setting up like, okay, if we're going to open up the channels, why do 5 when I can do 10? Like why can't I just really move stuff and make the body heal at a much faster rate? And so you spend time like priming the pumps, so to speak, where you really get the frequency of the chakras going and pumping, and then the larch just takes it a little bit deeper of
Mhm.
you're hitting the neck, the diaphragm, the psoas, and the calves basically with doing this pattern. And so it's relaxing the motor nerves, and it's allowing your body to go into a deeper state of like intuition and rest and repair and all that. So you're really opening up. And when the you start working the mugwort by itself allows for higher essence to come in. I mean, that's why it opens up the channels and why it opens up the chakras. But now you've made the chakras pump more, and then you put the body in this like relaxed state, so it's just like a dry sponge hitting water where it just like sucks it up, and then you do the mugwort technique. And so I would say that's probably not a daily practice, unless you're really kind of going through something. You could probably do it for a few days or a week, but I would say like once a week would be a
Mhm.
really solid practice. I mean, it will really move energy through the body. And I've always found that when I would do this consistently, because it's like anything, I'm like, this is amazing. I'm gonna do this every day for the rest of my life. And it lasts like 2 or 3 weeks, and then I drop it, and then a month goes by, and I'm gonna go, I'm gonna do that thing again.
I
And
could have had a V8.
like it's just uh
Yeah. Hmm.
the
Yep.
human mind,
So what
and
can I
so
do
mhm,
on the vibrational mugwort technique in that vein, in that family?
mhm.
Okay, so I do the vibrational mugwort technique once a week, and then what would I do the rest of the week to kick the bell,
To
so to speak,
maintain it,
to maintain it or keep it going?
I would probably. That's a very good question. Yeah. Let's see here. I would probably do Okay, so if we're saying like that technique is your Saturday or your Sunday or whatever it is.
Right.
So in between that, from Saturday to Saturday, I would probably do at least a couple of nights of the autonomic function and balance with the lemongrass,
Okay.
where
So
you have two patterns. So it's front heart, forehead, back head, and then reversed.
which page is that?
Top of page 10.
Number
Okay.
18.
Yeah, number 18.
Top page 10, number 18.
And then the other thing I would do is the spinal thalamic tract.
Okay.
I think it's the very first thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Symptomatic.
yeah,
Yes.
very first thing.
Okay. So
The
pain
pain
process,
processing. Yeah,
spinothalamic,
yeah, yeah.
and do so A and B, or
At least do A. Like B
okay.
will make it a little extra spicy,
Mm-hmm.
but A is, I just did it on somebody um last week, not with oils, but with healing.
Mm-hmm.
They were having really bad anxiety. And I did that, and they reached out several days later, and they were like, whatever you did, that was amazing. And all it was I just calmed down that spinal thalamic tract. I mean,
Okay.
I didn't clean anything. I mean, that's all I did. And the thing is it calms down the production of emotions. It reduces stress, reduces anxiety. It lets the body relax. It does so many things. And if we're talking spiritual, like, it allows energy to move up and down the spine to a much greater degree.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really like that into some sort of mix. And even if you want to do a little cheater version of it, that part where you do like the stress response in the feet, where you just rub spikenard on your feet,
Mm-hmm.
that, like, if you don't want to, sometimes you're like, yeah, that would be amazing, but I'm also tired and I don't want to do it. And
Yeah.
just rub
All I
some,
want to do is go to bed.
yeah, just rub some spikenard on your feet. Call it good.
Okay.
I mean, it will still relax that tract. Yeah, because I used to do this experiment a long time ago where I would have people check their range of motion, and we'd use something really simple like lemon or something like that, and I'd have them put it in between their toes, like this, and do both sides and sit there for a couple minutes. I was like, okay, now check the flexibility in your back, like, front, side to side, whatever it is. And almost every time it increased the flexibility. And so this idea of like putting on your feet and putting it between the toes like this, it
Mm-hmm.
hits that spinal thalamic tract, even though it's kind of far from the spine. The nerves and the physiology, you're still sending neurotransmitter information to the spine that then tells that spine, like, hey, go ahead, step down, chill out, whatever it is, and it starts to calm down. So, like, even when we look at things from a symptom oriented approach, even when we're wanting to work that spinal thalamic tract, we tend to go, okay, I have to put it on the spine, or I have to inhale it on the spine. And it can be a little bit like playing pool, where you're like, okay, I'm gonna bank it off this. I'm gonna knock that ball in the corner pocket. Like, you can kind of set things up like that. And anytime you want to affect neurotransmitters, you can always go to the feet. And it's the same thing, like remember years ago we were talking about like colds and flus, and trying to prevent getting COVID and everything. And one of the things that I was talking about was your feet need to be not too hot and sweaty, and they need to be not cold. Like, they need to be like a really moderate temperature. And don't let them get sweaty, don't let them get cold and stiff. And the reason being is that when that happens, it causes a bunch of like neurotransmitters to start doing things in your body that then make you more susceptible to getting sick. And so the same idea would happen with um, trying to treat pain, or like stiffness in the back, or just how you even process pain. So you could really bottom line it as saying like a kind of stress in the body, but it will calm down like the stress response and that response and that tract in the spine. And so, inhaling it, I find, is probably, it's good because for one, you're directing energy to the spine, but you're also, when you're doing the protocol, when you're following the pattern, you're inhaling and you're having to be like more observant and a little bit more focused. And so you're doing something with the mind that if you just apply something, doesn't happen. And so you're kind of doing a thing where you're harmonizing the mind or the brain and the body. And it's that focus produces a kind of expansion that allows for more light to go in, or more energy, more life force, whatever you want to call it, go into wherever you're directing it. And so rubbing it on sometimes can be really good. If it feels good, it's easy, like you don't have to think about it. But when you kind of sit down and you do the breathing process, and you start kind of, you can still apply it, but you really engage that breathing process, you produce a much more dynamic effect. You're not just going, okay, I'm going to reduce this symptom. It's like, okay, I'm going to reduce this symptom. I'm going to make, this feel better. I'm going to move some energy, and I'm going to put my mind in a place that helps my body to heal.
It's
And so I
it's a
kind of like,
it's like it's a meditative
yeah,
kind
it's
of
totally
thing
like
for
it's a
me.
meditation. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Doing the process,
Yeah.
even when I'm trying to stay conscious enough to pay attention to where I am
Right.
in the process,
Right.
it's still meditative. Now,
Right.
yes, sometimes I lose it, and it's like, okay, where am I? Okay, I must be just start someplace,
Right.
because I've gone off into the ethers.
Right.
But
Right. Right.
it's really a meditative thing for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that like when you're going off into the ethers, your like higher consciousness isn't in the brain. It's, or not of the brain. Your brain experiences it. So when you are expanding in meditation, you're not just going up into the ethers, you're shifting from like your normal consciousness, and you're starting to experience like higher consciousness. And so when you're doing the oil protocol and you're like, ooh, and then you kind of space out, you've kind of left and you're up in that higher consciousness, which is really kind of the goal. Like, you kind of go up in there, and then when you come back down, you bring some of that with you, and then it kind of starts to spread throughout the body. So that's why I always will like say, hey, dropping the bottle is like a big compliment. It meant you went up into the ethers,
Yeah.
and so yeah, when those things happen, there's certain meditations where even if you have expansion, you're trying to make yourself stay in the body and stay focused. Like you're really trying to do it. And that is an important thing to develop for a certain aspect. But here, that's not what we're trying to do. So when people expand, I just like lean into it. You know, if you need to take a 15-minute nap or something, I'd do it. Like I'd
Yeah.
let your body absorb that energy, that consciousness, because that will definitely shift how, basically you're shifting that conditioning of the body, breaking patterns. Like you're doing so many things by doing that.
Yeah. Okay. Next, number B, starting on page 11.
Mhm.
There's a lot there. So under what conditions would we think, okay, I need to go to section B?
Let me look at what we're talking about.
Advanced
Oh
vibrational
yeah,
resonance for healing
yeah.
and protection. It sounds like the sort of thing I would have written in some technical manual to buffalo
I
with you,
would
but
say I would say when you have a little extra time and it's a nice Sunday and you're watching a movie or something, maybe once a month or something. The idea of that wasn't meant to be like a repetitive thing. I mean, it's kind of an involved process, but when the body really needs deep healing, or if there's a lot of aggression towards you, like if you're needing like a bit of protection,
Mhm.
or your body is just like, I'm just like, I got something serious going on, or I just feel like crap and like nothing's working. I would go to this because you're shifting something. In the vibration class when we were working resonance,
Mhm.
this is like a different version of resonance, and it's like um, more like detail oriented. Where like the thing we did in the class, it's still very potent, but it's just kind of like cleaning up a crime scene. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? This is going in like when you get your car detailed and the guy goes in with your toothbrush and all those kinds of things. It's not a thing that you would do all the time, but from time to time, it's nice to really, push that in the body.
Okay. On the top of page 12,
Mhm.
there's no heading up there. What what are those to trigger
That's
point
still the continuation of the whole letter
of
D.
context leading to a catabolic state?
Uh-huh.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
that's all the vibrational resonance. Yeah.
All right. And
Yeah,
then
it's a long process.
and then it starts with feet, legs, arms, pelvis. So I can tell that that's, so A and B would be laying the foundation, so to speak,
Hmm.
for the rest of the process.
Right.
And then the rest of the pages here would be, just the real
All the color.
detail.
Yeah. You know how we do that meditation where we do the green on the arms and the green on the legs and the orange
Yeah,
on the pelvis? It's that.
I
So,
recognize that here. Yeah.
yeah. And
Okay.
so that has a very strong like healing effect, and it also has a very strong protective quality.
Hmm.
And like when for example, when somebody's being like really aggressive or a group of people is being very aggressive towards you, even if you go, okay, I don't really care what they're saying, I don't, whatever, there's still an energy being projected.
Yeah.
And so part of how that energy comes in and impacts how you feel, like it, makes you feel crappy or makes you start dropping things, whatever it is that it it shoves your body into the catabolic state. And so the idea here being that we're gonna unwind whatever that is,
Hmm.
the degenerative state. And then, when you use the colors, it's hitting the resonance, but also one of the things that the colors do is strengthens the line of defenses in your body, especially associated with the immune system. And so anytime you're feeling worn down or depleted, or you just feel, like sometimes you feel like a little bit more vulnerable, or a little bit like a little more can come in. I mean,
Hmm.
that's not just a thing that you're feeling, that is actually happening in your energy body. It's like your defenses are down a little bit. And so it's a way to pump things up. And usually when you pump these things up, it'll stay that way for quite a while, unless there's a serious health issue. Like this isn't a thing that you have to do like all the time, unless you're, dealing with like a lot of people upset at you, or you have
Hmm.
like a compromised immune system,
Yeah.
or you're just worn down. Like fatigue will do that. Like your fatigue will make the defenses go down, and so does trauma. It's one of the things like when I was doing stuff for the shooting victims and like the bombing victims in Boston, it's one of the things that people don't take into account. You just try to get through the event, and you try to deal with the trauma of the event, and there's all those things. But to stand back and go, okay, but what did that do to the physiology? Even when people do that, they still look at like, oh, PTSD, or the traumatic effect. But if you really watch a person or a group of people that have been impacted by something like that, everybody's immune system in a short amount of time starts going down and down and down. And so like when I was dealing with the people from the Boston situation, I think it had been a little bit of time before I started seeing people there. And I started asking people like, okay, so before the bombing, how often would you get sick? And then, like, a year or two later, I was like, how often are you getting sick now? It was up by like 400 or 500%. Like, it wasn't even like, oh, I got sick twice instead of once. It's like I was sick all winter. Like, I'd get better, I get sick again. I get better, I get sick again. And it's because that trauma made the energy body like much more vulnerable. So out things in the outer environment, be it people, viruses, reactions to allergens, whatever it might be, their body just became um, much more like impacted by that. You remember when we were talking about resonance, it
Mhm.
was about either the environment's affecting you or you're affecting the environment. Like
Yeah.
you're either being heavily influenced, or if the energy body is strong enough, negative stimuli coming from the outside, your body just goes, yeah, not a big deal.
Yep.
But like if the body's a little bit weaker, those negative influences come in and your body's like, "Bleh, like, what are we doing? It starts to have these weird reactions. And so it's kind of like putting like a shield or just a wall of energy, that things that are not really wanted, they don't really have the ability to penetrate it too much. And the manifestation of that is your immune system usually gets much stronger. When that is very depleted, you tend to get sick more. And
Mhm.
so, like, I always think about even the simple application of, for the longest time, when I would go on vacation, this is my younger years, I'd go on vacation and in a day or two I'd get sick. And I was like, ugh, I would say that thing like, well, my body knows I have this downtime, and, you know, I'm
Like I let
allowing
my
myself
guard
to put
down.
my guard down, and like some of that was true. Like, yeah, I'm allowed to put my guard down was an interesting little inner dialogue that I would have. But I started thinking about it because I was going on vacation. I already had a busy schedule, and I was working like way more for a couple of weeks before I went on vacation. I started thinking about it, and I'd like, if I think about like my energy field, when I was looking at my energy field, it was getting depleted, but I would go, well, but I'm going on vacation. I'm going to rest. I'd be okay. But my guard would go down so much that as soon as I would start to travel or just even interact with people around me, it's like, oh boy, I get to relax. I'd get sick because like I had no guard up. Like, and it wasn't because I relaxed it, it's because I depleted it. Like I just ran it into the ground because I was going to go spend a week of relaxation. And so when I stopped doing that, I stopped getting sick on my vacation.
Mhm.
I was getting sick on my vacation like a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so my old friend sternocleidomastoid,
Mhm.
larch is kind of the A selection here. What else? If
You could use lantana.
okay,
Like the reason that we're doing the throat, the diaphragm, the psoas, it's to shift like mm, I just refer to it as metabolic instability. Like when your body's just
well, like for me, it's been
chaotic. You,
it's
you know what I mean? But if you're
yeah.
just trying to unwind your sternocleidomastoid, I would still use like lantana and hyssop, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I've
And
had I
overlap them, like do the larch and then do those other things. I mean, they are doing some different things, but if
okay.
you're just looking at like tightness and trigger point activity, um, like even chakra root cleanser up in that area could be nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna have to get some larch. Right now I just have a small sniffer size.
Yeah.
So can I get a small 2 mil roller ball of larch? Is
Yeah.
that gonna work for that application?
Yeah, yeah, it should work. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Um, okay, I think that hits the big ones. So thanks for thanks for the
Yeah.
additional
Yeah, it
classwork.
sounds like you had some good experiences.
I had some good experiences. It was like what the doctor ordered.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to, it's broken enough things loose that I'm going, okay, I'm headed in the right direction. How can I keep it going?
Right.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, let's share with them
I wasn't sure. I'm gonna should put it in at least a PDF form. It doesn't look great,
right.
but it's okay.
So, okay. So I typed up also just for like extra information. I went through like all the pain blends
Mhm.
and I put like I divided it up into like the state of the body that they impact and then the symptoms. And
Okay.
because there's like, I don't know what, 12, maybe 10, 12. And so managing the pain and everything just like has like some choices. Like I haven't been listing the pain stuff and some of the ways that they could overlap.
Mhm.
But now that we're going a little bit deeper on pain, I was like, well, let's just throw this information out there. And I don't want to make it too confusing, but like you can even utilize some of the pain blends if you have them like for some of these areas. So like, relaxing the neck or doing some of this other work. And so
Okay.
And just so you guys know, this is super rough, but Greg and I have like a really good plan of how to make it really accessible and readable on the site as well.
yeah.
But I love sharing the information with you,
Yeah.
so give me a
So
sec.
this is like basically is going to turn into a thing on the website. So you can just go to the website and see it. You won't even have to keep it in your laptop or iPad or whatever, but we'll post it a couple different ways so you guys have easy access to it. And I'll probably even add like some suggestions of things that you can work with. I was going through my notes and I have things about even supplements that you could get like from your health food store and things that could help if you're working one of the particular blends. I just got to clean it up and I'll drop that information to you guys as well.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. Thank
Yeah.
you.
That way you can just treat things from as many possible directions as possible and you don't spend time doing other things that maybe don't contribute to the thing you're trying to target.
Okay. All right. And so I'm going to ask that you use your spidey senses and take a look at me. I, I need to get out of this. I've been in a catabolic state for a long time, being at my
Right.
tender age. What do I need to do right now to get more in the anabolic state and keep going that direction? What would be a really good thing to do?
Okay. I like the larch, the thing with the larch doing the neck,
Mm-hmm.
diaphragm, yeah, psoas and the calves. And
Okay.
I really like the spinal thalamic work for you, like a
Okay.
lot. Like
Okay.
I think that could make you feel a lot better. Yeah. And
So,
the combo
so the
kind of
larch
play off
on the
each
neck
other.
and all that would be inhaling?
Yeah, you could just inhale it. Yeah.
Okay.
Would that be daily then for?
Yeah, like that might be one I would do daily for a little while.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even when you're doing the spinal thalamic tract, maybe from time to time throw a little spikenard or a little something relaxing on the feet, especially between the toes. I mean,
Mhm.
it could be other things as well. Even lavender, like down on the feet. I mean, spikenard would be stronger, but still lavender would work. Like, other things can work.
Yeah.
So I would, mix it up a little bit. I even for a little while I was doing vetiver between the toes, like that, and it's nice. Like it feels nice.
Okay.
And I always found that my back did a little better when I did that.
Yeah. A little soothing would be a good thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it calms that whole set of nerves up and down the spine like that. Yeah,
Okay. Great. Thank you very
yeah.
much.
You're so welcome.
See you this weekend.
And then I just want to make sure, I did look up that in the chat what we did Saturday, like in about 5:30 p.m.
Mhm.
And it was the number 5 emotional tension.
Oh, there you go. Did you hear that, Ralph? Yeah.
Yeah, number 5, emotional tension.
Emotional tension. Yeah. I remember that now. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I totally remember that. Yeah, that was nice. I always like doing that.
And then go ahead, Lolly. And then we have chat questions as well.
Hey, hey.
Okay. Hi. So actually just one question. There's so many things and I still have to go over all the different things. But when you mentioned when you're doing the spinal thalamic track, you
Mhm.
mentioned you do that with energy. So cleaning brain, cleaning, so basically cleaning the brain, the spine,
Yeah.
and the feet.
Do you have a Dorje?
Yes.
Yeah. Do like point the Dorje down like so, and then
Okay.
keep the awareness on the spine.
Okay. And that's it.
Yeah. I know, huh? Super simple.
And that's okay. So doing that does pretty much
Like,
the entire process.
yeah, calms the whole spinal thalamic tract down.
Okay. And so that takes care of both the first part and the second part. Because
Takes care
okay,
of,
no, I know, okay, I know what I'm asking. So on that specific one, you're doing the spinal thermic track, and you're doing the brain, spine, all of that. So that's part one. So that's taking care of that. The second part I'm talking about is actually health raise, where you're doing the 4 quadrants of the body.
oh,
Would you do that? And I actually wanted to ask about that anyway, the Dorje with the 4 quadrants, because you mentioned that before. That's not really specific to that.
yeah, doing the Dorje with the 4 quadrants really wouldn't hit the health raise, but it
Right.
does clean out the like the program stuff.
Okay. Which
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah.
So that and that I can do for somebody else as well.
Mhm.
Okay. But then if I wanted to clean the health raise, is there a way to do it other than general cleansing with energy?
Right. Meaning with other oils or
No, let's say no. That's I think with those we have different options.
oh,
But
gotcha.
but
Okay.
if we're doing it with let's say Dorje with energy other than general cleansing,
Um, no, I think those are probably your best bets.
okay. That just because it just came up. But for the but to clean the track, you're just working with the Dorje like a few times until it feels
Yeah,
like
like how I was talking with Ralph about the inhalation, where, part of the issue is the function of the mind. And so, when you're inhaling the oils, you're focused on it, and then you start to have expansion. And
Mhm.
so the same idea happens with the working with the Dorje. You stay super focused on it
Mhm.
until there's an expansion.
Yeah.
You let the expansion happen. And so, like when you're doing it, the next question would be like, if I'm doing it, you're focused on their spine, like why is that working? But if we go back to the idea of resonance, like you're
Mhm.
holding Dorje, you're directing a lot of spiritual energy down at the earth. And so the energy running through you, your body, your channel is then starting to cause reactions in the other person and in their
Mhm.
body, and basically it starts to duplicate what you're doing. Like, so you're doing it, and you're not doing it on your spine, but you're working on somebody.
Mhm.
How about we just do this? Let's do it for everybody. Everybody close your eyes, and I'll do it for everybody. I don't know. How did that feel, Lolly?
It's so interesting. It feels like something is kind of, it's not even moving. It's like swirling around in the body.
Mm-hmm.
That's the feeling that I got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like more awake now.
So, like, if you think about it, like here, we're independently doing the practices on Thursday where we work with the mystical tools and things, and in the oil class is starting to mix the mudras and things like that. But you can see how like starting to do the practice with like a dorje or some tool, and then you put it down, and then you work it with the oil, and then you put it down, and then you do the tool, and then you do a mudra. And it's like, the idea is to get your body to heal or get to this particular place. And after a while, it's not about the oils, it's not about the dorje, it's just about getting you to that place. And then your body just kind of does what it needs to do. And so there's ways that they play off each other and they amplify each other. And so that's why I've been teaching them separately, but at some point they're gonna merge together. I don't know that we'll do like a formal class, but we'll do like these little study groups, how we do these little free study groups. We'll start doing things where we merge them.
No, it's perfect. And thank you. I'm so glad the Dorjita came up because I actually been using that some more. And I'm like, oh, that's really amazing. I've been doing this.
Dorjes are
yeah.
I've been using a dorje for, I don't know, 40 years or something. And they still blow my mind. Like it's still like 20 years ago, I was like, this is amazing. I got like, this is so down. Like it's so much, it's a thing that just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing.
So yeah, so it's super interesting for me to see how I'm starting to work with that. And when we do the practices on Thursday, I'm like, it's like even understanding and like what just happened. So thank you. Thank you. So that was super helpful. And then actually, you know what? I will go back to the question from earlier as far as the health raise, now that I think about it, because even on the booklet, there's no other options. And it's fine. I'll work with the health raise, but would there be anything else that can potentially work?
Like, I'm not sure what you're asking.
So I'm asking if, let's say, we're doing, because even the practices actually that we did in the vibrational class, right? So after each one, we did the health raise. And I get the idea and everything. But what I'm asking is, let's say I'm even doing it I'm having somebody do that. And let's say they don't have health raise. Is there something else that I can potentially steps to clean the health raise for that purpose?
Yeah, so in the Astara practice and the Astara light, there's a thing where you do the skin breathing.
Right.
Yeah, you could do that.
And that's cleaning. And that's cleaning the health raise. Okay.
Yeah. So you visualize white coming in through the pores of your skin. You exhale. I probably wouldn't have them do it with oils. I know you're asking, like, is there a replacement? But like combining those two, it can be a little strong. And most people, like I did that, like, I don't know, 15 or 20 years ago in a couple of groups, like it was like some students that had been around me and some kind of newer people. And I'd say 60% of the group, it was a little too strong for.
If you're doing it with oils.
Yeah, like if you do the skin breathing with the oils.
Right.
So the thing that makes it regulated is do, the oils either before or after, and then do the skin breathing. So a lot of times I'd inhale the oil, do skin breathing, and then inhale the oil some more. That's fine. Like that works.
And then just because you mentioned that, because I did that a few times, and one of the things that I was thinking about, I get it, I've done it quite a few times. When you're doing, the gray comes out in whatever area of the body, you envisioning it just out, or does it have to be down to the ground?
No, just out.
Okay, so that you don't actually need to, like, even if I'm going from leading somebody through the process. So it's just like letting go of whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
And so a question in chat, psychological pain, recommendations for an elderly person's weak motor nerve communication in legs, bringing up big fears of falling. And then the second part of this is
So the fear of falling, but the legs aren't working, or they just have a balance issue.
if you could type in what really you repeat.
So is it that the legs are weak, and they feel like they're giving out and they can't support themselves, or they have a balance issue?
They just said they're not working.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, if it's a balance issue, you actually have to deal with the neck. If it's the legs are weak, you have to deal with the low back.
They said weak spell rather than balance.
Okay, weak spells. So they get weak spells, and then have they ever fainted? Like in the last 5 years or 10 years?
No.
Nope. Okay. Um, Give me just a second. I'm watching something play out here. So this is what I would say. The person, when they start to feel a little bit out of control, it's like the environment is either overstimulating, or they're not quite sure of what's happening. They get a little disoriented. They have like kind of a reactionary stress response, and Ming Men super overactivates. And so when that does, it's drawing energy from the basic, but it also draws it from the lower centers. And what happens sometimes is then the legs become like temporarily depleted, or how they can get a little ungrounded and start bumping into things. It's like that, but much more significant. And so we want to kind of calm down that response, and also calm down the Ming Men from overactivating so much. And so I would use like yarrow tincture, yarrow body tonic, blue healer body tonic, yarrow internally, like yarrow, or like blue healer topically, something like that. Um, just because like it will help shrink the main men, and that will keep strength in the legs, and they won't have that spell where they get like ungrounded. It's not quite the right thing to say, but that's a lot of times what people say is ungrounded. But it makes the body less reactive, and they become less reactive to the things in the environment. And so they would be like in their body more, they'd be in their legs more, they'd be like in their lower centers more. And so and it would probably just help them feel better, like they would probably feel a little bit better like that. But a lot of times like that is like another way of saying it is awareness is slipping away. Like like how you can be aware of your body and you're kind of grounded in your body, but if you get a little distracted or in your head, you get a little clumsy or something like that. It's like that, but on steroids. Yeah, like I would go yarrow or something really dark blue. Yeah.
And then let me just see how they responded. They said very helpful and correct. She's
Yeah.
95.
Yeah, her Ming Men just like you get really super big.
And she said the environment is relaxed, but highly overthinking. And
Yeah, and even though the environment might be relaxed, she might be getting disoriented, and so the environment, even though it's relaxed, still might be disorienting or like a little stimulating because she kind of loses like her like awareness in the surroundings, and so
and then there's a part two as well.
Mhm.
It has numbness in her right hand with no feeling. So she's dropping things. Is a combination of frustration, helplessness, embarrassment.
Yeah, sure. I would stick with that same oil and like put a little bit topically on the neck. Most likely she's probably got some bone on bone stuff in the neck, and the nerve is getting a little compressed and it's probably quite inflamed in that area. So this would be it internal and or topical, could also help that particular issue as well. Yeah. And at least it's a good starting place. Like it'd be a very good starting place. Normally, I would say, you know, if this is something that they find that's very helpful and they lean into it, normally I would say, you know, yarrow 3 weeks on, 1 week off, just because it can mess with the iron absorption. I would change the parameters for her and say she could do a couple months on, a week off, a couple months on. Like you could kind of stretch the boundaries of that. I think her feeling better and given her age it's a much more appropriate like thing to do rather than worrying about low iron. Like it would take so long for it to kind of settle in that bringing her a couple of years of comfort, you know, that's what I would do.
And she said the hand was numb coming out of a hip surgery. No stroke.
Yeah, it still could be the neck. It could be the like she got a crink, you know, crick in her neck. You know, problems there, but like you start to get a little muscle tension or something, and it will exaggerate it. You know, they might have had their body on like the side and pressure on the shoulder, and so like all of that could impact all of that stuff. Yeah.
So like the compressed nerve is like basically making.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually when you have like numbness in the hand, it's either most times it's the vertebrae in the neck, but sometimes it can be the shoulder girdle, like a thoracic outlet syndrome, where some of the muscles like pinch off the nerve. And so I'd start at the neck. It's usually the neck.
Someone's asking, does yarrow internal regulate the Ming Ming or just topical?
Yeah, no, both ways. Yeah.
A thumbs up on from the person asking.
Okay, good.
It's 8 o'clock. I don't know what you want to do, but
Let's do just a little tiny bit of a practice. I can't do the unconscious thing.
okay, let's do it.
Mm.
Okay, practice, guys.
We won't do the whole thing just because it's kind of long and it involves like if you have the word program and but let's jump to
Did you have a question, Ralph?
I was just going to ask which number this was.
It is number 11, page 47.
Thank you.
Right, Greg?
Mhm.
And I'll be posting the practice in the chat as well for you guys.
Okay, so this first piece calls for the blend vibration, but let me come up with some options for you guys. Spikenard, galbanum, tuberose, mastic, cistus, not grass, but nobody's gonna have not grass. Even hyssop, like if you had hyssop. And if you don't have one of those choices, let me know and we'll come up with something different for you.
But I think Kiss Up was in the kit, right?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't remember.
I'll bring that up at some point. Again, though, if you have the ARC programming kit, choose the unconscious that is.
No, we're dropping down to
Oh.
the second one.
Okay.
So
ignore me,
vibration.
Vibration.
Yeah.
Don't ignore me, but
Yeah.
if you took the vibrational healing class, use your
Yeah.
vibration.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay. So you're going to start with, we're going to do the lower part of the aura. We're basically affecting the legs. So the left side from the tops of your hip all the way down to the bottom of the left foot. Your awareness is there. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Mhm. Mhm. Then go to the front side, from the tops of your hips all the way down to the bottom of both feet. Then the right side, from the top of the hips down the leg to the bottom of the right foot. The back of the hips, the top of the hip, all the way down to the bottom of both feet. And then your sex chakra, where the sex organs are. What's that?
Who knew what?
Yeah. And then just let it go for a moment. Just be still and let it go. So keep in mind we're diminishing unconscious pain. You wouldn't really be aware of it, but like when it starts to diminish, you go, I don't know what that was, but I sure feel better, or whatever it is. You know. So now hold the bottle up to your chest. We're going to do the materialization breath. You're holding the bottle up to your chest, chin down, inhale, hold your breath, up, exhale, down, inhale, 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 up, exhale. Just be still. Your awareness is on the bottom of your tailbone. Take some nice, long, slow, and deep breath. Move your awareness to the spleen on the left-hand side below your ribs. And then your awareness is on the low back, the back side of the navel. Your awareness is on the crown, top of your head. And then just let go. We're just going to stick with the oil that we're using. We'll just keep it real easy. Your awareness is on the front part of your neck, the whole neck, top to bottom, like the whole front neck area. Take some nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Move your awareness to the back side of the neck, the whole back side, top to bottom. How's this for you? Yeah. You see why I wanted to do it so bad. Yeah. The sides of your neck, like the whole side, both sides. And now go to the affected area. Just wherever you feel it in your neck the most, go to that area and take some nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then just be still, let go. Now, I'm going to say a few oils. If you have them, let's use that. If you don't, just keep using the same oil you have. You, a lot of you probably won't have these. Acacia, cistus, poplar balsam, or the blend unconscious, which is also out of the org programming that you mentioned at the beginning. Okay, so you're going to inhale. Your awareness is on the sex chakra, where the sex organs are. The temples. Your awareness is on the temples. Hmm. And then the sixth chakra and temples both at the same time. Just let go. Just let go. How did that make you feel? How did that make you feel? Yeah. Yeah, it's a nice one. So, so we ran a little long tonight, but I don't know. I just wanted to have you guys experience that. Yeah, I like to do this one a lot, the unconscious thing. Ugh. So anyway, well, thanks for joining us. This weekend's a free weekend, so hopefully you join us again on the weekend, and we do a 2.0 version of mental image or self-image and mental energy. It's trying to combine them.
Oh, I did
Yeah,
for the first, few days.
yeah. So anyway, hope we see you soon, and if not this weekend, maybe next week. Take care.